Good evening, everyone. I hope you are having a lovely week. It is the day before Thanksgiving. I wasn't planning on doing a show tonight. Actually, a bit of a rough story, to be honest. We usually celebrate Thanksgiving with my in-laws. My wife's parents live in Nashville, and we live in Durham. And we have a cabin up in the northwest area, mountain area of North Carolina. And it is 3 hours from us, and it is 3 hours from them. So we are always looking forward to meeting in the middle, and then we have a nice dinner up there for Thanksgiving. And then we also do Christmas up there. So it's a really nice time to get together. However, our dog got sick. So when was it? Maybe Sunday, one of our dogs started coughing. And dogs don't usually cough. You know, they'll clear their throat, but they don't usually have a cough sort of thing. She started coughing, and we're like, oh, that's weird. So the next day, she was still coughing, and we brought her in, and we had some tests done, and it wasn't great. So it was inconclusive, and the veterinarian was like, you know what, you should probably run some more tests, just make sure that everything's okay. I'm going to schedule an appointment for you tomorrow and all that. So as a result, we canceled our Thanksgiving plans. So she is fine now. She's doing great. We've got her on some antibiotics. It is not the coughing thing. If you are looking on the news, there is some crazy dog-borne illness that's going around that's impacting a lot of dogs. And one of the main symptoms is a cough. And we don't have that problem. Our dogs are in the house. You know, they don't go and hang out with other dogs. So catching something from another dog would be near impossible. As they've never been exposed to another dog. But she stopped coughing a couple days ago. So as soon as she got on the antibiotics, she's been a lot better. We're still waiting on the final results to know exactly what was going on. But as a result, we were supposed to be up at the cabin yesterday. We are not. So I said, you know what, I'm going to do a gear talk because it's been a while. It's been 3 weeks. And if I were unable to do it this week, would have been a full month, and I don't like missing that many episodes. Even though there's not a ton to talk about tonight, it's nice to see everybody. I like updating everybody on things that I've got going on in my life, and giving an opportunity for people to ask questions, get their questions answered, all that sort of stuff. So glad to be here. I hope that you are doing well where you are. If you're in the United States, happy Thanksgiving. I hope that you get to celebrate with friends and family of any sort. I always love Thanksgiving because it is a time that doesn't really matter your religion, doesn't matter your beliefs or your political sway or anything. It is just about family, friends, being with loved ones, sharing a meal, and that's the sort of holiday that I can get behind, We're not celebrating anything except for being together and being, friends and family with people. So if you were in town, I probably wouldn't invite you over, let's be honest. But it's the sort of holiday where people open up their doors and they welcome people in for dinner. And I love that sort of sentiment. So happy Thanksgiving to you if you celebrate. And if not, you should try. It's a good tradition to keep up, even if you're not in the U.S. It's kind of got a bad rap, the old days when Thanksgiving was created and everything, but we don't celebrate that anymore. That's not interesting. Most important thing is that we're just together and celebrating a meal with our family. Anywho, enough of that. Let's get started. Hey everyone, this is Gear Talk episode 122. Gear Talk is the show where we talk about the geekier side of rollerblading. We do this every other Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern live on YouTube. If you are the sort of person that knows the difference between sealed bearings and serviceable bearings and actually cleans your bearings, then you've come to the right place. Gear Talk is a show that we do on YouTube. It is a great opportunity for us to share the latest and greatest in rollerblading to help you dial in your setup so that every time you go out there and skate, your skates are ready. You can't blame your gear. You can only blame yourself or potentially the weather. It's starting to get cold here, and I definitely blame the weather for not being able to jump high, not being able to skate for a long period of time, the rain and soaking the ground and not being able to skate. Frustrating things, that's out of our control. That is kind of the mother nature of everything. But the things that you can control, the gear, the wheels, the liners, the bearings, the boots, all of that stuff, if that sort of thing interests you, then Gear Talk is the show for you. We do this every other Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern live on YouTube. It is a great opportunity to ask questions that you might have that you haven't been able to get answered anywhere else. You know, rollerblading isn't the most popular sport, and it's hard to Google for things, especially specific questions about which skates would I recommend, or I'm getting back into blading and things have changed, whatever happened to this. Stuff like that is important to get good answers, otherwise you're going to waste your money, and we don't want anybody to waste their money. Put all the money that you can back into the industry, support the community, but don't waste it and end up buying skates that aren't going to fit you, or they're not going to feel good, or they're going to be too heavy for you. If you have questions about stuff like that, you've come to the right place. We would love to answer your questions. But first, let's talk a little bit about our helmet initiative. So this is a program that we started a couple years back where one of my friends actually ended up in a coma because they fell down and they hit their head while skating. No helmet, not doing any tricks, just skating on the street, and just tripped and fell and hit his head. And it kind of dawned on me that, you know what, helmets, I've always skated with a helmet since I came back into blading. And it's one of those easy things that you can do to save yourself from any serious injury. If you fall down and you break your wrist because you're not wearing wrist guards, it's going to suck. You might have a cast, something like that. But if you fall and hit your head, you could end up in the hospital. You could end up in a coma. You could end up really altering your life. And that's something that, as amazing as rollerblading is, we want to avoid at all costs. So we started a program. We partnered with an organization called the helmetinitiative.org, who helps us provide helmets to our viewers. And every episode of Gear Talk, we give away a new helmet to somebody out there who needs one. Helmets usually run about $50-$60 for a good helmet. You can get a cheap helmet, but cheap helmets aren't really going to do much. You really want to get a good helmet. $50 or $60 for a good helmet. When you do that, it's important that you get a good helmet. And I know that money is tight for some people right now. That's not something that you should have to decide about. If you need a helmet, we want to try to help you so that you can get a helmet on your head. Go to backtoblading.com/helmet. Let me put that in, backtoblading.com/helmet. There it is. Backtoblading.com/helmet is the place to go. Fill out that form. We don't sell your information. We delete all the emails and the information after you send it. We just need a way to contact you. We pick somebody at random every episode of Gear Talk to get a helmet. And if you need a helmet, this is a good way to do it. If you're in the US, we have 888 certified sweat savers that we send out to lucky winners. If you are one of those winners, then we will contact you and we will get your mailing address. We will send you a sizing chart so that we can figure out what size helmet you need, and we'll tell you which helmet colors we have in stock, and we'll let you pick which helmet you want, and we'll send you a helmet. Absolutely no strings attached, no charge, no shipping fees or anything like that. We just want to make sure that we can get more helmets on people's heads. If you're outside of the US, instead of going through all of that and shipping a helmet outside of the US, meaning we pay more money for shipping and you would pay money for import fees, customs fees, whatever, we will just send you some money so that you can buy a helmet in your local area. So go down to a skate shop, go to your online store or wherever you buy your athletic equipment and get yourself a helmet. We will send you money that might be able to, the US dollar is fairly stable right now, might be able to buy you more than just a helmet. That's absolutely fine with us. We just want to make sure that you have a helmet at a minimum and that you will wear a helmet next time you go out there and skate. Backtoblading.com/helmet for filling out the form so that you can win a helmet. We are able to do this because we have supporters on Patreon who help us with some of our bills. Bills include the shipping to get things out, the money that we send to people outside of the U.S. The helmets that we get from the Helmet Initiative, they support us fully. So they send the helmets to us. They cover the cost of the shipping. They cover the cost of the helmets. They are an amazing organization. Outside of the U.S., though, we send you money. So where does that money come from? It comes from ads, and it comes from our Patreon supporters. Patreon.com/backtoblading for more information. We do some behind-the-scene photos. We don't do very much, though, be honest. It is more of a place where if you've got a few extra bucks and you want to support the program, if you want to support Gear Talk and the things that I do for the community, it's a good way to just send a couple of bucks a month. They will go back to a good cause, whether it's a helmet, whether it's upgrading equipment here, whether it's getting people support if they need entry to events or things like that. We try to do what we can to help the community. Patreon.com/backtoblading. Learn more about it. And, again, thanks everybody for the support. And thank you for wearing your helmet. If you're out there wearing your helmet, I appreciate it. More and more people are wearing their helmets, and it really makes me feel good because I want rollerblading to continue to grow. And I want to make sure that there are more people out there. There's nothing worse than hearing that somebody falls and hits their head and doesn't want to skate anymore. That is just brutal because it could have been avoided by just wearing your helmet and you wouldn't have to worry about that. Anyway, thanks so much to the helmetinitiative.org for supporting us for our helmet giveaway. And thanks to the Patreon supporters for helping us with some cash so that we can keep things going here at Back to Blading. All right, let's talk about my current setup. You want to talk about the current setup? Let's do a little housekeeping first. How about housekeeping first? So I only have a couple things. It is tomorrow's Black Friday, or Friday's Black Friday. Today's Wednesday. We're not going to be doing any Black Friday sales. So we're big proponents of supporting your local shops. If you have a local shop, they will be doing sales. They will have all of the brands that I represent, Fitty Fitty, Chroma, Compass, Mushroom Blading, Standard, all that stuff will probably be on sale. As far as I know, we don't have any restrictions on things. So if you find a great coupon, contact your local shop, support your shops. There are plenty of great shops out there that will probably be doing some great deals on products. That is the way, if you're looking for any of the products that we sell, that is the way to save some money. We don't do sales hardly at all. We do closeout stuff when things are discontinued, but we don't do sales hardly at all. We want to support shops. So we want shops to be able to cover their costs, cover their expenses, be that area in the community for people to contact if they have questions about gear, to order a variety of things. We only have 5 brands. There are plenty of great brands out there. We want shops to be able to be that place out there that you can order all the different brands, and hopefully nice brick and mortar area so that people who don't know anything about what I'm talking about can watch the Barbie movie and can see the rollerblades and say, oh, I used to rollerblade, I want to get some new ones. And then they type in rollerblades, buy rollerblades in my area or whatever, hot rollerblades in my area, right? And they find a skate shop and they're able to go in there and they're able to get set up with a great set of skates. That is the future that we want. And I hope that you will go out there and support shops. If you have any plans for anything for Christmas or for the holiday season that you want to purchase, great way to do that, support your local shop. We do have a few things, though, going on. So the last couple of weeks, Standard has been really, really busy. Super thrilled that the final samples are on their way to the team now. So we will have an announcement with the team information hopefully next week. I think next week is our schedule. Give them a little bit of time to try on the skates and kind of dial it in a little bit. We'll see what that does. But it'll be nice for me because I won't have to be promoting the skates as much when we have an actual team out there. It would be nice. It would have been nice if we were able to announce the team earlier. But my feeling is you don't want to announce a team if they're skating other skates, and you don't want a team member to skate other skates after they've been announced. And since they haven't been able to have their skates, then I didn't want to announce anything. So now that the skates are on their way, we should be able to announce within the next week or so. So that's really happy. Second thing, slight modification, I guess. more like an alignment with the skates. We had some, so the standard Omni, so this is a skate, you've seen it before. Inside the skate, can I reach them? Inside the skate is a shock absorber. Can I reach my shock absorbers? I cannot. Let me pull it out of this skate. Inside the skate is a shock absorber. So there's two ways of doing a skate. Either you can do a raised heel, which means that the entire skate is plastic. What that means is that the back of the skate is raised up a little bit. You need between 8 and 12 millimeters of lift in your heel in order to feel good when skating. So the bottom of the Omni is completely flat. So if you look in here, if you didn't have the laces here, this shell is completely flat. So if you look at the bottom of the sole plate, it's not hiding anything. The bottom of the shell is also completely flat. But how do you get that 10 millimeters of heel raise in the back? Well, we have a shock absorber. So this is our shock absorber. This was a early sample of the shock absorber. It's going to be slightly different in production, but this is the shock absorber. So you can see this is 10 millimeters in the back, and then it's an incline that comfortably holds your foot, and it gives you a nice little forward lean so that it feels really nice and comfortable when you're skating. We are doing something a little different with our shock absorbers. So we are not only including a shock absorber in the skate, we're including two different hardnesses of shock absorbers. So rather than a raised heel skate that uses plastic, we have the luxury of adjusting the durometer, the squishiness of your heels. On a raised heel boot, you can't do that. It is plastic all the way in the back to the front. With a flat sole boot, you have a shock absorber, which means this area that used to be plastic can now be a nice shock absorbing material. We're going to try something a little different, and we're going to include two different hardnesses of shock absorbers in each box. So that includes the complete setups that come with the frames, that includes the boot onlys that come with the liners, and that includes the shell onlys. So every configuration of Omni, if you buy a boot, you will get two sets of shock absorbers. The white ones are going to be the harder performance ones, and the black ones are going to be the squishier, aggressive ones. I have only been skating the harder performance ones, and I absolutely love this feeling. I don't have any hardness in my heels after a session. I don't have any pain in my heels after a session. I feel super responsive. I made a mistake when I announced this and tried to give the durometers. I thought that they were a lot softer than they were. These are actually 60A. So I think I said 50A. These hard performance ones are 60A. So they are very hard. You can see very little squish. I'm squishing pretty hard. You can see in my knuckles getting a little red. They are fairly hard. That is a really nice feeling. So when you're doing big wheels, when you're doing any sort of aggressive skating and you want more responsiveness, a harder shock absorber is going to feel more like a raised heel boot. It's going to give you that responsiveness, that performance that a lot of people like. However, our aggressive one is still going to be 45A. So the black ones are going to be squishy. They're going to be 45A. They're going to be very gummy-like, which is really good if you're doing gaps, if you just want to skate ledges or rails and you just keep jumping off of things and you want the literal shock absorption side of this shock absorber. A softer, squishier shock absorber will feel really nice. So I got the number wrong. It wasn't 50A, it is 60A. We confirmed with the factory and they were like, are you sure? Because 50A is very similar to 45A. And I said, okay, let me measure it again. We measured it again. These are 60A. So 60A is the performance shock absorbers. 45A is going to be the aggressive or comfort shock absorbers. I'm really looking forward to it. I haven't tried the black ones yet. I'm really looking forward to hearing what people have to say and which ones they prefer. I think we'll have both of them available in the future. We'll probably end up with just a single set in each of the skates for the second run and the third run and the fourth run. We'll figure out which one works best for most people, but I love having both of them available. And like I said, this 60A, this harder shock absorber, feels amazing. I don't have any issues with any heel pain or any hardness in my knees or anything like that. Even skating metal prime frames, I feel great. So really looking forward to skating this softer 58 or 45A ones. Those are the black ones. Hope to have them for the next session. We'll see. I might stick with these just for the next session. Depends on when I'm going to skate again, to be honest. It might not be this weekend, so we'll see. But know that they are both available in the box. Everybody, thank you for the support so far with this project. Black is going to be the squishier ones, the more aggressive ones, the more comfortable ones at 45A. That is the style that most aggressive skates come from. So if your skates are currently with a raised heel or an internal shock absorber, they probably have a 45A shock absorber. If you want something a little bit more solid, a little bit more responsive, these are the ones that I prefer. These are the ones that are going to be installed by default, and then you'll be able to pull out these white ones and put in the black ones if you want a little bit more comfort. Little update for you there, though. Should have more information in the coming weeks as soon as production is started. So we gave the green light to start production. We're still waiting on some materials, though, so I don't have an ETA yet. I'm hoping that I'll have an ETA from the factory next week. We're slipping, I got to be honest. We were hoping that things would have been started by now, but the modifications that we made to the molds to make sure that everything was aligned properly. You know, we have 4 new shell sizes, we have 4 new sole plate sizes, we have 3 new cuff sizes, we have 2 new shock absorber sizes, we have 2 new frame sizes. There's a lot of new molds, and unfortunately there were a few tweaks we needed to make to molds that we didn't predict, and that pushed us a few weeks behind. So it is what it is. That's production for you. I hope to have an updated schedule for you next week. We've launched a news website, so if you go to standardskate.co/news, you'll see all of the latest updates. I try to update every Friday with the latest and greatest. I'll probably have an update for Friday, but if you are interested in what's going on, that's where most of the news will be. You could subscribe through RSS, or you can just go there whenever you remember to go there, every Saturday or whatever. There should be an update for you there. Anyway, thank you all for the support and patience with everything. Last couple of things with the standard, at least. We got the shirts in. This is the Starman shirt. You can see it's the burgundy shirt. It's kind of a winey shirt, wine-colored shirt. The back has the big khaki Starman logo on the back, full-size back. We have this in the burgundy as well as the white. That white is the one that I was skating in Raleigh with. Really, really great shirts. Love this design. And then we got a restock of the Portal tees. Those are the classic standard logo with the portal in the back of the man getting sucked into the portal. We have those in black and khaki. There's only a few of them left. If you ordered them through a shop for your pre-order, they are on their way to the shop. We've set them all aside along with your pins. So if you ordered a set of Omnis before October 8th, you have a complimentary set of enamel pins. I showed the pins last week. This is what they look like on their card. How beautiful is this? So this is a backing card for the pins. You get all 5 pins. Beautiful pin card. These are going out to shops. If you ordered direct from us, you should have your pins already. If you don't have your pins already, I did send a few more out today. Maybe about another 10 or 15 went out today. So you should have them soon. If you don't have your pins by Monday, give me an email and see if I can track them down. I didn't add tracking to all of these because I didn't want to bombard people with emails, but I do have tracking information for them. So if you haven't seen your pins by Monday, please let me know, and I will look into it and see what's going on if they have not been delivered, I will send out a new set of pins. We got a bunch of them. If you are interested in the pins, we will have them for sale starting next week. We just want to make sure that everybody gets their pins first so that we know how many pins we have left. We'll put them on our website. You know, I love the idea of having enamel pins. I think it's a really cool thing to show that you rollerblade outside of rollerblading. I put mine on my laptop bag, so whenever I go into the office, I have a little bit of rollerblading on my person whenever I walk into the office, and it feels really nice. Hope that you'll do the same. It's, you know, cool. There's a few other companies that make pins. I think it's a really great idea, so definitely looking forward to make more in the future. All right, so that's some standard information. Compass, mushroom blading, everything steady as she goes. We've got the new stuff hitting shelves now, so if you're looking for all of the new stuff from Compass, the new white frame, the white wheels, or if you're looking for the Hosers 76s from mushroom blading, they should be hitting shops any day now if they aren't there already. From 50/50, so we have a bit of a correction, I guess, snafu that we ran into with production of our backpacks. We've been working on this backpack for years. Very, very happy with this backpack. We have designed a very elegant, simple way of mounting your skates to the side, and unfortunately when we went into production, they screwed it up a little bit. So the way that we designed, and we had all of our samples and all the way up until production sign-off, the skate mounts were one way, and in production they decided to flip them around. So that's dealing with production. I always say that making samples is easy, going into production is hard. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So this is our session backpack. This is the black backpack. We have them in charcoal camo as well. The backpack is great. So as a fit and finish of a bag, everybody who's gotten them so far loves these bags. It is a really high quality construction, perfect amount of pockets for what I look for in a backpack. It's got 3 big sections, the top section for all of your big stuff, a side zipper pocket for quick access to stuff, and then a valuables little top section up top that you can open up and get your phone in there, or your keys or anything like that. Where the issue lies is the skate holders on the side. So we design our backpacks so that when you're wearing them, the skates sit on the side. That keeps them out of the way so you don't have to worry about them. They're not flopping around on your back or anything like that. They sit on the side. They fit nicely into back seats or into the trunk of your car. The way that this setup is designed is there is a single strap that has a buckle over here. It loops around back here, and then there's a skate holder in the bottom. So what it should do is your skate, when it slides in here, you should be able to, let me get a skate. Oh, look at this Aeon again. What you should be able to do is you get this skate and you slide it in like this. And you buckle it in, right? The problem is, the way that we designed it is, this is the way that it is now. So this is how it works now. Oh, let me get the buckle. This Aeon is bigger. 80 millimeter wheels. Click. There we go. All right, so this is the way it is now. So you can see that the skate sits nicely on the side. The problem is, because we're using a single strap design, this strap needs to be on the right side. So this buckle, instead of over on this side, should have been over on this side. What that does is it causes the skates to stick out. So you're wearing your backpack. If you're wearing your backpack, the skates will stick out now under your elbows. That's not the way that we designed it. So we wanted them to sit the opposite way so that the skates would stick out so that they would not impede your elbows. They wouldn't be in the way. However, we figured out a few ways that you can use this bag and not have a horrible time. It is not ideal, but it is a workable solution. So instead of sliding it in this way, what you can do, first solution, is you can slide the cuff into the strap. Then you strap it around like this. Loosen it up again because I already tightened it in. It is hard to do with one hand, but I am making it work. Clip. All right, there we go. So if you hold it like this, it is much less protruding in the back. This is the way that I set them up. So the skates are still secured on the side. Instead of going wheels down and then sticking them out to your back, you put wheels back and you have the cuff sticking up. Another way of doing it is you flip it around. So instead of having the cuff back, you turn it around, you have the wheels sticking out your direction. And you find the buckle. Like this. So this is the least obtrusive way of setting it up. You can see that now on your back, it won't touch your elbows at all. So you wear this backpack and you can see there's no interaction with the skate because it's all the way back there. The negative to this way, and this is just a little pet peeve of mine, is that if your wheels are dirty, they will get your shirt a little bit. The skates are still hold secure, they're not going anywhere. So if you don't mind the wheels sticking out to your back, that is not a big deal. This is how most people are going to use this bag. This is the way that I think we've got them on our website. It is a totally acceptable way of having your skates. It's unfortunate when things mess up in production. The factory has admitted fault and they've said that they will fix it in the next run, but we've got enough bags here that they offered to fix them. And I was like, you know what? It's really not a big deal. It still works great. It's still a great backpack. The amount of time that you're going to use these, like I usually put my skates in my trunk. You know, I'll slap them on the backpack and I strap them in. I throw them in my trunk and then I walk to the skate park and, you know, it's like, what, a 3-minute walk. Like I'm not too worried about them. Really, it's just to free up my hands so that I could hold, you know, water bottle or check my phone when I'm walking or something like that. I'm not too worried about this. I think it's a really good compromise. Of course, our next run, we will update it so that it has the proper flipped configuration, but want to make sure that I'm transparent with people if there's something funky that goes on in production. You know, I really take pride in our quality, and we designed this bag. You know, John Fromm and I spent over a year working on this bag, and it frustrates me when things get screwed up in production, but that is business. That's the way that it happens sometimes. And unfortunately, we're not big enough to say, nope, take them back and make them again. This is the best that we can do. So if you still want a skate backpack, this is a great skate backpack. They are available at most shops. You can get them from our website now as well. They work great for holding your skates. They'll work even better in the future, future being probably summer of 2024. But absolutely, so far, you know, love the support. I've had a lot of people say they have no problems whatsoever with the way that the skates are held. They actually prefer it this way. I mean, whatever works for you. I'm just really proud of the backpack itself. I think that the design really stands on its own. And, you know, for me personally, I don't mind the way that it's flipped, but because it's different than the way that I told you, I always like to be transparent about that. So it happens. That is production. Sometimes you need to roll with the punches. But so far, the support has been great. So again, thank you all for anybody who's purchased a backpack, who's checked it out. They're a good Christmas gift. They're not too pricey. I think they're $70 in the US, which is a pretty great price for a backpack. So if you're looking for a backpack, I did use this bag when I was skating around Raleigh. It is a good fit bag. It comes down low on your back, so it doesn't feel like it's awkward or anything. It feels like a proper backpack. Anyway, that is my update on the backpacks and on Fitty Fitty. I think that's everything else. That's all my housekeeping. A lot more housekeeping than I thought I had, so it might be a longer episode. Hard to say. All right, let me talk about my current setup, and then we'll answer some questions. If you are watching live, while I go through my current setup, good time to start thinking about any questions that you might have. Make sure that you tag Back to Blading in your comment. It is easier for me to see. It shows up in orange. I don't have to read all of the comments. Anything goes, skate related preferred, but if you have a question that's been on the back of your mind that you haven't been able to get an answer for, or maybe you don't trust the people that recommend something on rollerblading, and you want to get a second opinion, I'm here for you. Just ask away. I'm going to go through my current setup, and then I will answer your questions. All right, so it's been, 3 weeks since I did a gear talk? So 2 weeks ago, I went up to, I guess it was 3 weeks ago, I went up to visit my friends up in Maryland. Was a really great trip. No reason other than the fact that my wife, who was laid off earlier this summer, got a job, and I wanted to sneak out and do a trip up to Maryland to visit my friends before she started working again, because when both parents are working, you never know what's going to you never know what's going to happen on weekends. So me being able to take some time off and go hang out and skate was really, really nice. She is doing great. She's loving her new job, but the weekends have been busy. It's also cold and rainy, and it was kind of my last opportunity to get up and skate the compound before it got too cold for me to skate. I am a 47-year-old man. I don't skate if the temperature is under 47 degrees. So that is my line in the sand in order to keep myself from getting hurt and not enjoying my session. So this was my last opportunity. I went up there on a Friday night. I skated with my friends Sam and Chris at Powhatan, I think that's how you pronounce it, skate park in Virginia that morning. And then we went over to the compound and skated with Clark and all of the guys out at the compound. If you saw the videos, absolutely great session. It was a lot of fun skating with them. I was on the Omni, but I skated anti-rocker. I had the blue stripe with the I think it was the blue Sasha Lopez frames. Yeah, I was skating Sasha Lopez frames. I was skating anti-rocker, which was a trip. It's been a while since I've skated anti-rocker. I've been team flat for so long. Last weekend, though, I set up my skates for a big wheel session. So I wanted to go out and, I got a new 360 cam. I got one of the original Insta360s when they first came out, and I wasn't a huge fan. I felt like the bitrate, it was obvious when I was using the 360 cam versus my normal camera. And I knew that they had gotten better. I didn't realize how much better they got. Now I'm still learning how to use that camera, but the quality of the video, the quality of the audio, it's leaps and bounds over the last time that I used it, which is probably 3 years ago. It is a great camera for going out and skating big wheels. Nothing better than having a camera person following you, but because I don't have that, having a invisible selfie stick with a 360 cam was the next best thing. And I absolutely love my setup. I was on the standard Omni with 72 millimeter frames and 80 millimeter wheels. So this is my setup. This is the standard Omni. This is just for comparison. This is the size large skate. This fits a size 10 and a half foot. The internal measurement is 29.5. So 29.5 centimeters internal. My foot is 28.5. So with the comfort liners that come with the standard Omni, my 28.5 centimeter foot fit perfectly in there. Usually give about 10 millimeters for the liner. Liners are usually about 5 millimeters thick. So if you go 5 millimeters all the way around your foot, that brings you about 10 millimeters. So this is 29.5 internal, means a 28.5 centimeter foot is going to feel really nice. And I felt amazing. I've skated big wheels around my neighborhood, and I absolutely love these skates for skating big wheels. It's the comfort that I get that's just second to none. It feels like I'm just out there skating. You know, I'm not thinking about my equipment. I don't think about what frames I'm on, what boots I'm on. It is a really great feeling. Couple things of note. So first of all, this is a 72 millimeter frame. The 72 millimeter frame is designed to fit up to a 72 millimeter wheel. That's where it gets its name, 72. But I am skating them with 80 millimeter wheels. Now, how am I doing that? Because the inside of this sole plate, do I have a sole plate nearby? I have this skate. Why don't I pop off this skate real quick? So this is the Omni. Let me pop off the sole plate real quick. I haven't talked a lot about the sole plate, but I'll talk about the sole plate a little bit. So the inside of the sole plate, you see this in a lot of more modern designed skates. Because of the wish frame, we've started to accommodate wheels that are taller than the frame themselves. Now, what do I mean by that? So if you look at, this is the standard aggressive frame. If you look at this frame, this is designed for a 58 millimeter wheel. Now this is a 58 millimeter wheel here. You can see the top of this wheel comes completely flush with this frame with 1 millimeter of tolerance. So if you had a 59 millimeter wheel, it would fit perfectly. We designed it for a 58, so it's perfect. It's a very low profile, but you can see there's plenty of room here. Like I can fit my whole finger in there. I don't know how big my finger is, but this being a 270 millimeter frame, if I could fit my whole finger in there, that means that I could fit a bigger wheel in the front. The problem would be that this wheel would then raise up above the frame and it would rub on the top of the skate because the sole plate is completely flat. You can look at some of these sole plates. Do I have a sole plate here? So this is a USD 7, old USD 7. You can see the bottom. This sole plate is completely flat. So the frame goes into this channel. It mounts to these two bolts using UFS, but it's completely flat. Now, that is absolutely fine with this frame because this frame, the bottom of this frame is completely flat. No problems. But not all frames are like that. Some frames use a mix of different size wheels and have some of the wheels, usually the front and the back wheel, bigger to make a more effective lower ride height. So that means that maybe they'll ride a 65 in the front, maybe they'll ride a 72 in the front. It'll extend above the frame. And in that case, you need an area in the front that is cut out that allows for that wheel to stick up above the frame. So you can see here, if I put this frame on the boot, there's a lot of space here because this is a 58 millimeter wheel. You could see there's a good 3 millimeters, 4 millimeters up there that you could easily have a wheel that sits higher, a bigger wheel that will go above this frame line, and it will now sit inside the sole plate. That's what we're doing with the 72s. So this is a 72 millimeter frame, but these wheels are 80 millimeters. They extend below this frame into the sole plate. So this sole plate, you'll see they go up inside these countersinks. And that means that you have a lower ride height. So it'll feel like, instead of feeling like you're skating 72 millimeter wheels, instead of feeling like you're skating 80 millimeter wheels, because it extends 4 millimeters in, you'll have a 72 millimeter wheel, 76 millimeter wheel, 76 millimeter wheel. So you get a slightly lower ride height, a little bit more center of balance because you're a little lower, lower center of gravity. And it feels really great. So I was skating this setup all weekend. Skated all around downtown Raleigh. It is a great setup for just cruising around. These are UFS frames, so you could put them on any skate. If your skate supports recesses in your sole plates for the wheels, some of them do, Mesmers do, Factions do, Adapts do, I think Thems do. I don't know if they do in the middle, but there's a few that do. I don't know that a lot of them do 4mm, so this is a lot. You might need to Dremel out the bottom of it to make room for the wheels, but there's a lot of skates out there now that support that. Those are a really great pickup. Means that you have a lot more flexibility with skate setups, with frame setups and wheel setups. And I was skating them with the Omni. They were a really great skate for urban. Who knew? I always love skating around with the 80mm Aeons. It just feels like a really great ride. This I felt was a really good balance. Now, I don't have a groove. This is a 80mm frame, not designed for grinds. It works great for Macchios. The sole plate is still there. Big sole plate, no problems there. Had no problem doing Macchios, alley-oop Macchios, zero spin Macchios, all that stuff. But I'm not trying to do groove tricks. I don't know that I want to do groove tricks. Frames this big, wheels this big. I'm really just out there to skate around and have a good time. But if you had a UFS frame that had big wheels, that had a groove, obviously you could make that work for you. I added some pink. So I have the pink wheels on the white frame. I added some pink stripe to the base. You see what the normal skate looks like? This is how it comes. It has a black stripe on the white skate with a white sole plate. This is what the skates I was on in. Now, how did I do that? I went through this a couple weeks ago. This is just vinyl electrical tape. So what you do is you take off this sole plate and you can wrap this bottom with tape. And the tape sticks to the sole and it covers up the black paint, and then the sole plate goes on top of it and it covers up the excess area, so it makes a nice clean looking line. You can see, I mean, looking at this, there's little gaps of black, of course, but it looks really nice. This is going to be my recommended way of customizing the colors on the skates. The vinyl electrical tape is by far the easiest way to do it and the most flexible way. You don't have to worry about much. You could peel this off. It's not going to damage the paint underneath. I tried duct tape, just ripped off the paint on the boots, so I don't recommend that. The washi tape was okay. I fear that it's not going to stick around for very long, and it did start peeling up a little bit. I'm not getting any peel issues here. It's a little bit of a bubble on this side right here, but I bet I could just cut that down a little bit. It's not, doesn't look like it's something with the tape itself. It looks like it's just the way that I cut it. I will have some tutorials on how to customize your skates in the future. As soon as the skates start shipping, I will put together some tutorials on the basic how-to guide for what the Omni is capable of. But one of those topics is definitely going to be customizing that stripe. I think it's going to be amazing to see all of the different variations of colors that people come out with. It is a beautiful pink. This was just pink vinyl electrical tape that I got at my Lowe's for $8, $6, something like that. It took me maybe 5 minutes for the pair. I mean, it's not a hard project at all. So highly recommend it. If and when you do get a pair of Omni, make them your own. You know, this is your skate. It should feel like your own. I love this look, but next week I'm going to try something new. So we'll see what I come up with next. I love that I can always have a new setup though, and it's a really easy tweak, really easy mod with very, very low effort. All right, so that is my current setup. Absolutely loving the skates, love skating urban with them. Needed a break from aggressive. You know, I've been skating aggressive pretty hard for the last month or so. Since the Omni was announced, it's been every week I've been pushing myself pretty hard. And, you know, I love skating, but it's starting to get cold. And skating aggressive when it's cold as an older dude, like it starts to hurt a lot. My knees hurt a lot in the cold, and falling down hurts a lot in the cold. So I'll probably still do some aggressive, but it's definitely more fun for me to do big wheel skating recently. It's just, there's nothing better than skating, and this is a really great setup for me for skating. All right, let's take some questions and see if there's anything out there that I can help with. Again, if you have a question, tag Back to Blading in the live chat. If you're watching this pre-recorded in the future, then just leave a comment in the video. I answer all of the questions in my comments. If I don't know the answer, I will point you to somebody who will help you out with the answer. I have a lot of resources, and I might not be the most knowledgeable person, but I do know a lot about skating, and I have a lot of ways of getting answers for people. So happy to help you out. Tag Back to Blading if you have a question now. I'm going to get a little bit of water, and then I will scroll to the top and see if there's any great questions. All right, scroll, 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 scroll. All right. Sorry from the top. Jordan Skates. Hey, Jordan. It was good chatting with you in the pre-show. I saw your mention about the Gildan shirts. Gildan shirts are definitely not the highest quality. We're able to make them for, 50/50 makes Gildan shirts. 50/50 really isn't a clothing company. It's kind of I feel like it's the premium frame company. We make some amazing frames, but clothing isn't really the focus. I want to make sure that I always have shirts available, but it's really just graphic tees with our logo on them in different colors. It doesn't surprise me that those shirts shrunk a little bit. These standard shirts are the same that we use for Chroma. They are comfort colors. They are pre-shrunk and pre-washed. So they'll get a little bit of a fade look to them, which I actually really like. And you shouldn't see any shrinking with these shirts. If you do, let me know. Not much that I could do about it, but I'm always looking for good quality shirts, so please just keep me posted. And thanks for watching. Gunnar Wood, much love for the laces. Best I've skated yet. Can't wait to snag a pair of your Omnis. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. Thank you so much, Gunnar. Hope that everything is good with you, and happy Thanksgiving to you. I don't know which laces you got. Love making laces, though. It's one of those things that, it doesn't make you a lot of money. Like, I think we sell laces for $10. I think we sell them to shops for $5. I think they cost us like $2.50, $3 or something like that. So it's like we're making a couple of bucks here and there. But I love having different color options. Again, going back to this skate, if I had pink laces or if I had a black laces with pink Fitty Fitty logos, I would be all about it because I just love coordinating little pops of color on my skates. It's, I'm a t-shirt and jeans guy. I always wear the same jeans. I wear, basically the same shoes every day. I'll grab a shirt, usually a black shirt, if not sometimes a charcoal gray shirt. And I'll just grab it off the shelf and I'll just put it on. That's what I'll wear. With skates, I love customizing it. I love just coming out and doing something a little bit different. So yeah, laces with a little bit of color on them. I love that. So look for more laces. We continue to bring them out. Whenever we have new frames, we're going to bring out new laces. It's always going to be a fun thing. And we only make, a couple hundred at a time. So if you want them, pick them up. We might sell out. We probably won't make them again. Right. Oh, Gunnar, another question. I live same area in the Appalachians. Do you find joy in big wheeling in the hilly areas? If so, where do you like to big wheel in the wall? No, I don't skate big wheels in the hills. I don't trust myself going that fast. I usually, when I go up there and skate, so they just opened a new skate park in Boone. I have a video showing it off there. It's in the Boone Trail. There's like a creek trail, I think. Really cool little cutout of a mountain that they put a little skate park on. I love that. There's a really great skate park in Ashe County in West Jefferson that I like skating at. It's got some mostly prefab ramps, but it's a lot of fun. And then I go up to Sparta. Sparta's skate park closed during the summer. They're building a new one, but they haven't started construction yet. So those are the three spots that I've been. There's a little school near our cabin that I sometimes bring a P-rail out to, or I'll do some wizard skating. Try to do some wizard skating because it has a flat little basketball court. But really, that's it. I always fear, like, if I'm going downhill or something, how am I going to get back up? You know, I'm not, I'm not old, I'm not young. There was a time when we were growing up that we would just skate all day. Here, like, I skate with a purpose, and you know, skating around town is fun, but going uphill, no, thank you, not a fan. So I do hope if you live in that area, you come on out and visit the Boone Skate Park. It's a really, really nice ride. And there is a new skate shop that opened in Asheville called Fish Brains that we just sent some backpacks over to. Definitely worth supporting them. I think there's a really cool DIY park out there too. So it's a bit far. It's like a 3-hour drive from the cabin, so I won't be going out there anytime soon. But when I'm in Asheville again, I'm going to go check them out. Excuse me. Ben Vanderhagen, what if we want a used helmet? I would recommend never buying a used helmet. You don't know where it's been. If you want a used helmet, I do have questions about you, but you knew that already. All right, scrolling. C8 Money, C6 Money Pit. Maybe I missed the explanation at one point, but what is the story behind the logos you chose for Standard, Starman, Portal, etc.? That's a great question. So Standard, the whole vibe of the company, you should definitely watch. It's a long video, I apologize, but you should watch the gear talk that I get into it, and I introduce Standard and I talk a little bit about it. The branding for Standard, there are a lot of, I'll put this into a short, relatively short thing. There are a lot of great brands out there, skate brands. And I think they all kind of they have their vibe, you know, they have their market. And we wanted Standard to be more inclusive, more like a broad branding that could be recognizable and familiar to people, but very unique. And something that people could associate themselves with, you know? Nobody's pretending that they are Starman. I hope. I mean, maybe they are, I don't know. But you can see the shirt and you could say, oh, that's a cool logo. They like the vibe. They like the aesthetic. That is what we were going through. Something that was more mainstream, more non-specific. Because we really, truly want these skates to be something that everybody out there can ride. You know, I love skating aggressive, but I also skate big wheel. I want people to go out there and skate wizard with them. I want people to go out there and skate hammers and rails and, like, you know, drop rails and stuff like that. This should be for whatever style of skating you want. We built skates. We didn't build aggressive skates, though they are optimized for aggressive. We built skates. And the skates are for everyone. We're working on the sizes so that everyone includes everyone. We're working on that. And the branding should follow suit. So it shouldn't be a punk rock style. It shouldn't be a hip hop style. It shouldn't be a, you know, graffiti style. It should be a style for everyone. And that is the aesthetic behind it. Really good question, though. Stefan Brando did our graphics and design. Definitely find him on the Instagram. He has a lot of great visuals that show kind of the thought process around Standard and the logos that he's done in the past. Really, really great eye. So if you like the logos, definitely follow Stefan. He's got some good stuff up there. There might even be a design Instagram that he does. I don't know off the top of my head, but go to his profile and you can find it. Zach Markham, any ideas for pro skate designs yet? Custom color boot, cuff, sole, that line peeking behind the boot and the sole, custom color metal boots like Lace Eyeless and Covers. Yes, and I will share that they are actually going to be in production with our next skates. So we are a ways off of releasing them, but because we're so small and our factory wants to work with us, we had to buy a lot of skates up front. And that includes our second release, which will probably be in spring, maybe early summer. So we have our first signature skates planned. It's going to be a while, but we have them planned. We have them going to be in production with the other skates, but we're not going to ship. We're not even going to accept them. They're just going to be sitting at the factory waiting for us to have them. So it's an exciting time. You don't even know. Like, the things that you've seen of standard are just the tip of the iceberg. There is so much that we have planned for the next year. It is going to be an incredible company. So I'm thrilled with them. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. We'll have more info in the coming months. Sean Michelson, got to make some wheel koozies to keep the shirt clean. Or we could just, have the factory make them the way that they were supposed to. But I totally appreciate the additional upsell. Pat Wolfman, what was the process to design and print a custom sole plate for the Omni? We haven't announced the custom sole plate yet. That is something that I will be doing over this next weekend because we have some time off for Thanksgiving. It has been so busy with getting the backpacks in, getting the shirts in, getting the pins in, that I have not had time to work on the sole plates. But with the standard Omni, we are open sourcing this base. So this sole plate is proprietary. This is our sole plate. But the base, the area that it mounts to, is going to be open sourced so that anybody can create their own sole plate and stick this object, this 3D object, into their file, and it will poke out the holes for the mounts so that your UFS and your sole mounts will always be consistent in that standard that we've developed for sole mounting, and the contours will be the same. One of the biggest problems with developing your own sole plates is trying to get this contour right. It is a 3D object. So trying to get, like, if you look at your hand and you try to say, oh, well, I can measure my hand from, my inside of my thumb to my outside of my hand, but then the contour, like, what if you were trying to make a custom 3D printed glove or something like that? Trying to get all those contours and things, that is the tricky part. That is the part that we're going to open source. So that whole base area where it wraps around the bottom of your foot, that is going to be available as a downloadable file. Hopefully the next Gear Talk, I'll have some more information on that. It is something that I tried to get done in November. I just have not had the time. And to be completely honest, because we haven't had the final, we're making modifications to things, we haven't had the final skates to verify. And I didn't want to send out files that I didn't do a test print and confirm that they actually fit the final sole plates. So if they fit our sole plates, then I know that this file is going to be perfect to share with you. Hopefully I'll have more information in the coming weeks. I'm planning on working on that this weekend. So stay tuned. Shouldn't be long now. You will definitely have a few weeks of time to play with sole plates before the Omnis show up, though. That's for sure. It's my favorite hoodie. But we'll probably have them maybe in early spring. So maybe January, February. I think. All right, are we back? Are we back? It looks like we're back. Yes, all right, let me refresh. What the heck happened there? All right, I see us. What the hell happened? It's like, so I have a backup system that wasn't going. It's like my my streamer, I use OBS. It just completely dropped to 0. So I thought, well, maybe it was my backup, right? My backup was doing it, but that would just degrade the performance. It went to a 0. Like, instead of just dropping down to like 100 KB or whatever, it just went to 0. So something funky happened. So I stopped the stream and I started up again. It looks like it's working though. I'm going to scroll back up. I don't know what I missed. It looks like if somebody could tell me where I was talking last, I would appreciate it. It looks like people were talking about the aftermarket sole plates. Yes. Hoodies, maybe. Yes, maybe. Talking about hoodies. I think that's it. So maybe we're talking about hoodies. Let's see what I can do. So, I can't scroll all the way up because when I refreshed, I lost a lot of my chat history because that's the way YouTube rolls sometimes. So let me do this. I have a thing from Zach Smith. I will start with the question from Zach Smith. A few questions that I might have answered but didn't get caught in the stream that I will go through really quickly before them. There was a question about the zipper hoods from 50/50. We are planning on making more of them. We're waiting on money coming in. Hopefully we'll have some in January or February. That is when we will have our hoodie drop. We wanted to do it for the holidays, but cash has been a little tight as we've been throwing thousands and thousands of dollars to the skate project. Every dollar counts, so we haven't spent any additional money on soft goods. So hopefully January or February is when we'll have some of those. I think I talked about the skate and the sole plate. So we are going to be open sourcing the sole plate base. So the boot base is going to be open source. That will be in the next couple of weeks. I plan on working on it this weekend. That will enable people to create their own sole plates without having to worry about the contours or the size or the width or the length or anything of these. The reason why I've taken so long is I haven't had final production sole plates to test the prints on. Now that we do, I can test the prints, sign off, and then I will open source those files and say if it fits our sole plates, it should fit your sole plates. And if your sole plates fit ours, then they should fit fine on the skates. Hopefully I'll have that in the next couple of weeks. Just need a little bit of time to verify everything because I'm printing them all. I want to make sure that they actually physically fit before I vouch for any sizing. All right. Those were the two questions that I remember. If you didn't get your question answered, I am going to start with Zach Smith's question. I don't know if I missed your question. I don't know how many questions I missed because when I had to restart YouTube, restarted all of my comments. So if you had a question, please ask it again if you answered before Zach Smith. Zach asks, how much did you expand the Shell's toe box? Well, we've got a pretty big toe box to begin with. The big thing you can kind of see here is we've raised this area here. A lot of skates cause some pain on the top of your toes. We wanted to make sure that wasn't a problem, so we gave it a lot more room up here. Probably an extra 2 mil around the areas. It's kind of hard to say expanded based on what, unless you skated the skates before we expanded the toe box, you wouldn't know what they started at and how big they were. But I will say that they are much taller than other skates. Not extremely tall. I don't get flop with my toes, but I do have a nice comfortable feeling up there and a little bit of toe wiggle. Egon, Comfort Colors brand are doing great for me. No shrinking. Thank you so much. Yeah, I love these shirts. We started using them for Chroma. Couldn't find something better for standard. We had to go with the best. So really, really happy with them. And yeah, hope to do more shirts. I think standard can do a lot of good stuff in clothing. I think we need more clothing companies in blading. Clothing companies that, are for everyone, not just for punk rock or hip hop or, graffiti culture or whatever. Tito, I'm 295, 300, 33 years old, getting back to blading. My local has a Gods TS on sale, which seem customizable if my back doesn't like aggressive, and I need to swap into the Compass 80mm frame. Yes, the Gods Team Skates. I love the Gods skates. The sizing is what threw it off for me. Do I have one on the ground? No, I do. So these were the first skates that got me on my journey of wanting to make a skate. It was designed by USD back in the days, called the Grycon, and then it ended up being the USD 7, and now they're the God's Team Skates. These are the Tim Frankens, so this is the first one before the Team Skate. They are a great skate. The issue that I had with it is the fit. They are a really big shell. So if you can imagine, this is the size 44 shell. This is the shell that I should be skating if I were skating the Team Skate. Let me show you what this looks like compared to our standard Omni, which is the skate that I fit now and that I feel fits perfectly. So this is an Omni, and this is a size 44. You can see it is big, dude. It is much bigger. So it's pretty much on the same base. You can see the heel. It's actually a little longer too. They are big skates. So I think the sizing is a little bit off. If they fit your feet though, that is the question about sizing. It doesn't matter if the sizing is off if they fit your feet. So if you can try them on, if you have a way of returning them, so long as they fit their feet, I think you're going to really like these skates. I really like these skates. They are flat sole, so they have a nice internal shock absorber. They are light. They have a replaceable sole plate. They usually come with an okay liner. It is just a great all-around plastic skate. So you should probably pick them up if you can find them in your size. And if they fit your feet, you're going to love them. And welcome back to skating. 33, you're young. It's great. I hope that you stick around. It's going to suck during winter, but you're going to have a good time. Make sure that you wear your helmet and make sure that you take it slow. I have to say that over and over again, but it's important that you adjust your expectations accordingly. You're not going to be able to skate like you did in high school. This is a long game. I'm going to go out there and do 5 sole grinds and have a great time doing it. And that will be your accomplishment for the day. I did a whole video on that a couple weeks ago. Very important to set your expectations wisely so that you don't overkill yourself, because I've seen it happen and I've seen people get hurt, so I don't want that to happen. But thank you for watching. Michael Beckos, can you go over which direction or position to rotate wheels? Yes, I will do that in the skate maintenance video. So I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. Good reminder. Thank you. Daniel Kaz, best household product for cleaning bearings. Nail polish remover, citrus cleaner, something else. I have a video on cleaning bearings. It's a 2-part process. I'll go over it in the skate maintenance, but isopropyl alcohol is the best way to clean your bearings. Gets all of the grime out there, gets all of the dirt out there. After they're clean, you'll need to put some sort of an oil in there. Usually a synthetic oil is what I recommend. You can buy, the Bones Speed Cream or whatever it's called. You just need some sort of an oil that you can put back into your bearings. The video that I did, really easy to find. Just go back to blading and type in bearings and you'll be able to find it. Mark Weaver, Mark, how true is the boot print out to the physical boot? When step on the printout, my foot looks like it will be uncomfortable in a large skate. I have a wide US 10.5. I will say that the printout is accurate for length. When it comes to width, it is hard to estimate how wide the skate is going to be based on a 2-dimensional drawing, because your foot is a 3-dimensional, it kind of rounds out around like this. Don't go by width as much as go by length. If the length fits your foot, that is the most important measurement. After you have the right length, if you have a wide foot, see if you can fit in the size up. It does get a little bit wider as the skates are a little bit bigger. It really just depends on how wide your foot is. What I should do, it's hard because I don't have a good way of measuring width of the skates. I have the 3-dimensional drawings, but trying to find what the width is difficult because it varies in the different placement of the area where you're measuring varies as well. But I will say that people who have tried all of them on have fairly normal feet, not wide, not skinny. And everybody has said that there is a little bit of room. So I don't know that that means that they're good for wide feet, but I don't think if you had a wide foot, they would be difficult. Now, obviously, if you have a super wide foot, these are not the skates for you. But if you have a normal to a little bit wider foot, you could probably fit them just fine. Most important thing, the measurements on the printout is best for length. It doesn't really tell the story for width. DJ915, when will the Mushroom Lady 90mm wheels be available again? We have them on order. They are on production now. I should get the notification that they're ready soon. Then they need to ship. So it'll probably be January until we get 90mm back. You might want to check a skate shop if you need them earlier. There might be some available at your favorite shop. Andre Chappelle, take my money and give me a wider last. Yeah, I wish. If and when we have all the money in the world, maybe we'll come out with some wider skates. But for now, we're kind of making a skate that fits most people. The edge cases are going to be difficult. Again, I don't know how wide your foot is. You might fit just fine. It might be a liner situation where maybe you can find a liner that fits better with width. I don't think that they are as wide as a Genesis though. So if you find a Genesis to be your perfect skate, you might have a little bit of a tightness with the Omni. Corey Orendorf. Are there any updates on the potential ship dates from the factory? There are not. I hope to get an update next week. They are waiting on a few more materials for the production. So while we've given the green light, that doesn't mean that they are in production yet. So they're waiting on a few things. I don't know what they're waiting on. My guess is it's the materials for the boot, but I don't know. I'm trying to get more information from them on an ETA. They said that they would let us know next week. So hopefully I'll have a good update next Friday with an ETA, but right now I just don't know. Again, they've told us that they are going to expedite production when they have everything ready for us. So I feel like they're doing what they can, but I don't have any experience with boot production to know how long this stuff should take. I know with frames, it didn't take this long. So there must be something else that they have to get in stock that might take a little bit longer. Doing what we can though, and we'll update you as soon as we know more. All right, now I am at the freeze. Sean, thank you for the super chat to let me know that the stream froze. I appreciate it. I hope that will pay for my internet service provider so that I can have a better internet connection. I got a few more. Everybody, we're back. Sean, we're back. C6, Money Pit, we're back. Zach, talking about the hoodies, thank you. Ravenous Pathogen, in case you lost my question, will you make a transparent boot like the Danny Beer Them boots? You know, I've never tested that material. I don't think that we use the same material as the 909. I don't know if our material is available in a transparent, but I'm open to suggestions. You know, I think our team skates, the baseline skates, will always be available in black and white. If a team rider wants a clear skate like the Danny Beer, then we'll talk to the factory and see if we can make that happen. I love the Danny Beer skate. I think it's an amazing skate. So I would love to do one, but I'm not going to force anybody to do it. And I don't even know if we can. Armor Green, my only remaining question is regarding an optional removable cell phone water bottle holster on the shoulder strap. That's kind of a good idea. You're talking about the backpack, I guess. Something on the shoulder strap for cell phone. I bet you could buy one third party. I don't know that we would add one, but it's not a bad idea. Might not be wide enough for a phone, and it definitely wouldn't be wide enough for a water bottle. We do have a water bottle pocket in the back. So this pocket back here is for a water bottle. But I get what you mean as you're walking and you want to just grab something and, you know, do whatever. That's a good idea. You might want to look at a third party, like an Amazon seller that has something like that. But if we get more feedback, we'll probably look into adding it. I don't want to put everything in this bag. I think I like the way that it's somewhat minimal, but it also has a lot of functionality. But that might be a really good upgrade. Thank you for the suggestion. All right, I think we're done. One more, Austin. Hey, Austin, what's your favorite wheel that isn't fitty-fitty or compass, favorite frame that isn't fitty-fitty, and favorite skate that isn't standard? Favorite wheel that isn't fitty for your compass? I mean, chroma or mushroom blading, of course. No, outside of those two, what have I skated? So I skated the undercovers. I really liked those, especially for big wheels. I skated the mushroom blading ones back when they were the 100 millimeter 85A, the green ones, the original mushroom blading wheels. I really liked those wheels. I always felt like undercover did a really good job with big wheels. I haven't skated too many others though. I did skate the undercover 60 millimeter 90As, and I skated the Conjures. Conjure was a great brand. I skated Conjures, their 6090s. Who was it? I don't remember whose it was. I think it was Sean's that I skated. So yeah, that probably undercover is the old A&D pours. Those are the ones that I liked. From frames, I love the Wish frames. Huge fan of Cletus and everything that he does. I love the big Wish frames. From a frame perspective, if I'm skating anti-rocker, I liked the Kaiser Fluid 4s. I wasn't a big fan of the Fluid 5s, but a lot of people liked them, so to each their own. I did skate the Icon AG60s 2 weeks ago, and a month ago. They were a blast. I loved those frames. Really good setup for skating a flat 60. I think I skated them with a slight rocker, so yeah, definitely recommend those frames as well. So I do try to skate other products. It's hard to not just go with what I have available, especially if I'm testing a new product. So I skate mostly our stuff, but we make good stuff, so it's all right. Thanks for watching. All right, let's get started. It's at 10:24 because of that technical malfunction. I have a little bit less time, but I'm going to talk a little bit about skate maintenance. So I talk a lot about gear that you should have, recommending frames, recommending wheels, skates, things like that. I don't talk very much about how to keep the gear that you have skatable. So after every session, there are things that you should be doing to your skates to make sure that they remain fun to skate. You can only do so much with your equipment. I always say, we're going to dial in your setup so that when you get out there, the only thing that you can blame is yourself. You can't blame your equipment. Well, that assumes that you're maintaining your equipment before each session. We can't just set it up in the beginning and forget about it because, things wear down. Things are consumable. Things break. And you need to know how to maintain your skates so that every time you go out there, you do have a really great experience. There's a few things that you need to consider, with a skate. The most important is that the skates are still safe. Always check your skates for cracks. Always check your skates for any physical damage. You don't want to get out there and skate and have them fall apart on you. This is especially important if you're skating vintage skates. A lot of people are getting back into skating right now, and they're skating the skates that they were skating 20 years ago. And while I love the ambition and the drive of people skating old skates, that is a very dangerous situation that you're putting yourself in. The plastic in skates is not designed to last 20 years. If you can get a good session out there, great. They are much better suited to sit on your shelf and look at them and remember the good old times versus going out there, skating them and breaking and potentially injuring yourself. So always check to make sure that your skates don't have any signs of any damage, any breakages, any cracks, because that can definitely impact your session and it could injure you. So make sure that your skates are in a good situation before then. That also equally goes for your helmet. If you fall and hit your head, even if you're wearing a helmet, you should replace your helmet. The helmet is not designed for, I've got a helmet, I never have to buy another helmet. You should buy your helmet every year. Replace your helmet every year. You should replace your helmet anytime you hit your head or find some noticeable wear or cracks. Now, I don't do that enough as I should. I should replace my helmet more often. But the helmets are designed to stop that initial blow, that initial hit of your head. After that, their job is done. you know, you need to replace them and get a new one that's ready to handle that damage. So definitely replace your helmet once a year and make sure that your skates are in a good situation, a good state before going out there and skating. So assuming that you've got good skates, few things that you want to look at. So let me get my skates off the wall. These are the skates that I skated this weekend. Aesthetically, less important to some, very important to others. Skates are going to get dirty. They're going to get gross. You fall down. You're going to miss tricks. You're going to grind on them. You're going to wear them down. This is a white skate, and as anybody who knows me knows that I hate skating white skates for the simple fact that they get really dirty. And while the lights in here are pretty bright, you can see how dirty these skates are. I hate a dirty skate. A couple tips for cleaning them. I know this isn't as important about maintenance, but I feel like when I feel good out there skating and I look down and my skates are crispy and they're fresh, that I skate better. Basic maintenance if you want to maintain the color and the shape and the look of your skates. Less important on dark skates, but on white skates, you're going to get a lot of black crud on them, especially on the soles when you're doing sole grinds, things like that. Couple ways that people have recommended doing them. First is a little bit of WD-40. So this is a degreaser. I haven't had much good experience with it. Take a little bit of WD-40, take a towel, spray some WD-40 on, and then you can rub the skate, and it sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. Similarly, you can use some isopropyl alcohol. This is what we use for cleaning bearings. Either one of those is less important, less helpful, I would say, in cleaning your skates. What I found works really well is the old magic erasers from Mr. Clean. So these are probably available everywhere in the US. If you're outside of the US, they might be under a different name. They are a spongy sort of thing. It is they say it's an eraser, but really it's more of a like a little sandpaper, very thin sandpaper. What you do is you put a little bit of water on it, you rinse out the water. I have actually got it's a little moist now, but you can see, I'll start over here. You can see this crud that's on the side of the boot. Just with a little bit of rubbing. I get the the extra durable version. Works really well. You can see it's already working really nicely. If you're just trying to get rid of some stains, if you're trying to get rid of a little bit of wax on your sole plates, these Mr. Clean magic erasers work really well. It's not bad, not bad. If you've got some stubborn stains, take a little bit of sandpaper. There's a little bit of stubborn stain right here. Just sand it down. These are plastic. And then you can go over with the eraser again. Looks really nice, right? Not bad. You can see the area that I did the work. Would that take 10 seconds? Very easy magic eraser. Highly recommended if you're trying to get your fresh skates looking even fresher. Before you go out there and skate, just from I guess the wheel perspective, there's a couple things to look at. You know, assuming that your skates are in good shape, take your wheels, spin them real quick. You shouldn't hear anything. You can hear a little bit of that sound. They should spin freely. They don't need to spin full, like non-stop like these do, but they should spin freely. You shouldn't have any resistance. You shouldn't have to force your wheels to spin. You shouldn't, push your wheels like this and then just stop or something like that. And most importantly, you shouldn't hear anything. If you start hearing things, that means that there's dirt inside your bearings. That can be, it could be a damage issue where you could bind your bearings and you could get thrown. You could destroy your wheels if the bearings heat up and they, expand your core. There's a lot of things that could happen if you have loud bearings. Couple ways to deal with bearings. So I do have a full video about cleaning bearings that I will link to in the description. Here are two different types of bearings. See the bearings that we make. This is the standard, or standard. This is the Compass Swiss bearing. These are our higher end bearings. They are a oil-based bearing, and these are the 5050 ABEC 9 bearings. These are a double shielded bearing. Two differences of these two bearings aside from the color. If you flip them over, you can see the backside of the shielded bearings are shielded on both sides. This is the normal bearing that you'll usually find on most skates. What's nice about that is it keeps dirt from getting into your bearings. So these bearings will last longer without any maintenance. There's less of an opportunity for dirt to get inside, which means that if you're jumping into dirt, if you're skating handrails and you're jumping off into grass, these are the sort of bearings that you want to use because it will keep the dirt from getting inside your bearing. It is a shielded bearing. It is not designed to be cleaned. It is not designed to be maintained. As soon as these bearings start seizing, you throw them out and you buy new ones. These Compass bearings are serviceable. So if you look at the back, you can see the backside does not have a shield. It has this little plastic race that holds the bearings in there. That allows you to clean your bearings. So if you have bearings like this, and this is available in a lot of different skates, a lot of skates have serviceable bearings now. If you see bearings that have this, you can clean your bearings. When do you want to clean your bearings? So these are the ABEC 9s. You can hear, can't hear anything. These Compass bearings have been skated for a while. You hear that? That is when you want to service your bearings. If you start hearing something with your bearings, you're going to want to clean your bearings. Easiest way to clean your bearings is you get a bearing cleaning tool. So this is a little, kind of like a film canister. Do you kids remember film? You used to get film in a roll if you were shooting photos before the iPhone. So this is like a film canister. You pop it open. Inside of this are a bunch of little parts. These parts create this little cleaning solution ladder. So you pop the bearing in here, you pop another one on top, just like a little bearing thing. And you continue doing that with bearings all the way up. And then there's another one of these on top that goes like this. You'll put it in this bin. You will take your isopropyl alcohol. You'll pour a little bit in there, glug, glug, glug. Cover the top. You shake it around for like 30 seconds. It gets all of the dirt out of the bearings. You pull them out. You have nice clean bearings. Then you take them out, you dry them out. You put a little bit of grease in there, a little bit of oil, not grease. You put a little bit of oil in there. This is bearing oil. And then you spin the bearings and they will be nice and clean. Looking for that information, there's a full video on it that I will link to. That is kind of it's a very therapeutic thing. It's kind of a higher level thing. Most people, if they start hearing their bearings making sound, they don't go through the trouble of doing it. You know, we sell these ABEC 9 bearings for $20 for 8. So if you're skating flat 8 wheels, 4 down, then it's what, $40 or something like that. A lot of people just buy a brand new set of bearings, or they've got plenty of bearings already. They'll just swap out a bearing for the one that's making a sound. Either way, you can service your bearings if you want. Most important thing is you want to take care of anything that makes a sound. Nothing worse than a squeaky, loud skate out at the skate park. And it could be a sign that your bearings are about to fail. A failed bearing could cause you to damage yourself or you to damage your wheels. You're always going to want to check. So in addition to bearings, when you spin your wheels, you're always going to want to check that your axles are tight. So everybody has a 4mm hex key. Put them in the socket, turn, make sure that they are tight. If you have a double-sided axle, get another one, put it on this side, tighten them down. If you are riding UFS, check your frame bolts, Put your axle into your frame bolts, tighten it down. Make sure that your sole plates are tight, tighten them down. Make sure that everything that can be tightened down gets tightened down. You don't want to lose anything. You don't want to lose bolts or axles or anything. I do get people who are skating and they lose a wheel while they are skating because their axle was so loose they didn't realize it, and then they stride and their axle falls off, their wheel goes in a different direction, and they're skating with one less wheel. That is not good. You should be able to hear that. You should be able to hear a click when you're skating because the wheel is moving around inside here. If you don't, make sure that you check your axles every time you skate just to make sure that they are clean, make sure that they're tight, make sure that you're not missing anything. We should talk about rotating your wheels. So wheels are going to wear down. Better wheels that you get, the longer they're going to last, the better ride you're going to have. But every wheel of every style is eventually going to wear down. These wheels I've skated once, and you can see that they are still holding their shape really nicely. There's a little bit of wear here. I think this is my right foot. So this is where I do my slides. So when I'm doing slides, I usually push out with this wheel and this wheel first. So those are the wheels that are going to get a little bit of wear. But they are in pretty good shape. So you want the wheels to be symmetrical. You want this side to be the same shape as this side. This is an example of a skate where the wheels were not maintained. And you can see the wheels are really nice over here and then completely worn. So this poor kid probably loved to skate. I got these secondhand. Loved to skate, but never was told how to rotate their wheels. You can see that they have worn all the way down to the bearings. You can see the cores coming through these wheels. Kudos to K2. These wheels did not chunk on this kid. They lasted for the life of this skate. But you can see he's skating all the way down to, or they, it's a kid. I don't know if it's a guy or a girl. You can see they're skating all the way down. So they were grinding into the side of the frame. That's not from grinds. That's from skating. Probably because they didn't tighten their skates enough and they were probably flopping around while they were skating. And you could see they were striding so much, they got into the axles. This is the worst case scenario. You don't want this. Normal scenario. So these are some cheap wheels that come on cheap Blade Runner skates. Normal scenario is something more like this. Well, you'll start seeing a little bit more wear on the inside. This wheel, you're going to see a little bit more wear on the inside. And you'll usually wear on your inside first. And the reason is when you're skating, you've got your skates down and you'll lean a little bit more on your inside edges. Every time you stride, you're pushing with your inside edge. Every time you're doing a stop, you're dragging your foot with your inside edge. It's a very common to see that the inside edge of wheels get worn down first. What you should do is rotate your wheels. So every time you take your skates out and you do a little maintenance, you clean your bearings, you wipe them down with a cloth, something like that, you'll want to rotate your wheels. If you are skating flat, which most of us are, you will take the first wheel and you'll flip it with the third wheel. You'll take the second wheel and you'll switch it with the last wheel. When you do that, you also want to rotate so that the graphic of the wheel goes to the inside. So if I were rotating this wheel, I would take this, I would pick it up, I would flip it so that the graphic is facing this way, and then I would put it in the third position. And then the second wheel, flip it and put it in the fourth position. The reason why you want to do that is if you look at the way that I'm wearing, you can see I'm wearing the second to last wheel, the third wheel, and I'm wearing the fourth wheel more than the first and the second wheel. You want to balance that out. So you want to put this wheel in the second position. You want to put this wheel in the first position, which means that these two wheels that haven't gotten worn very much are the ones that are going to start taking the wear. Even better, it's the opposite side. So all of these wheels are going to slowly wear at the same pace. That will keep your wheels lasting longer. It will keep you from coning your wheels. It'll keep a nice mild profile. There's a great example that my friend Mark sent me. This is what a 100mm wheel looks like. And you can see the profile of that 100mm wheel. This is called a bullet profile. So instead of a rounded profile, which is what this 80mm is, this is a rounded profile. You can see that the wheel is more rounded at the top. This is more of a bullet. So it's more tight at the top, more pointed at the top. This is what a 100mm wheel looks like after 100 miles. And you can see he did an amazing job of rotating his wheels. So really great maintenance, just wore them down. But because he rotated them after every session, they rotated consistently and they stayed symmetric. So he was still able to ride them. If you can't rotate them after every session, you're going to start coning your wheel and it's going to be more difficult to skate them. You're going to lose edge control and such. Guaranteed, never lost edge control with this wheel, even though it is much smaller than the 100. All right. That's really about it. You know, there's not a ton that you need to do to keep your skates maintained. Most important thing is don't just throw them in your trunk and then next time you go out there and skate, you take them out of your trunk and you go skate. You need to look at your skates between sessions. Just take a look at them. Make sure that they're still safe. Make sure that they're not wearing in an abnormal way. If they are, now you know what to do with it. Wheels are designed to wear down. That's their whole purpose. Better wheels will wear down slower, but all wheels are going to wear down. It's up to you to maintain your wheels, to rotate your wheels, take care of your bearings so that every time you go out there, you have a really great ride. All right. I hope that was helpful to some of us. It might be a refresher for others, but you never know who's watching. I always like to assume that everybody out there is a fairly new skater that's coming to Gear Talk and trying to learn and is interested in skating. This is the sort of thing that I don't think they talk about a lot. You can find on websites, but they don't really talk about maintenance of skates. I think that's something that we need to address a little bit more. You don't always have to go out there and buy new gear. As much as an industry dude that sells gear, I love selling new stuff. But more often than not, I would rather people go out there and just skate. And the longer that you can go out there and skate and enjoy every session, the better. So maintaining your equipment, keeping your wheels fresh, keeping your bearings fresh, and make sure that your boots are in crisp shape so that you feel good when you're out there skating is very important. All right, it is 10:46. I'm going to start wrapping it up. If there are any other questions, I would love to answer your question. Make sure that you tag Back to Blading in the chat, and I will go through and I will answer as many questions as I can before we head out. Scrolling up, scrolling up, scrolling up. Sean Michelson would love to help test some transparent parts. Yes, I would love to make some transparent parts. I hope that one of the things I'm really looking forward to with the skate is testing new things, testing materials for boots, testing materials for sole plates. You know, we've got some pretty good materials that we're going to launch with, but we're in no way done. You know, this is the first launch. You know, we're very proud of the skate, but we're only going to make improvements from here. So setting the baseline and then just seeing what else we can do. So very exciting time. Austin, hey, I missed the Omni update, but I heard from people you ordered direct that the skates were delayed, but I ordered from Oak City, so I'm in the dark. Yes. Best way to get updates on Standard is go to standardskate.co/news. So if you just go to the website, go to the Instagram, click on the link in bio, you'll see we've added the latest news update to the bottom of the first page of the website. We are doing updates every Friday for what's going on with production. Latest update is that we got the skates, signed off on the skates, sending the skates out to the team, should be announcing the team soon. We've given the green light to the factory. They are ready to do production. They are waiting on a few materials before they can start. We should have an ETA next week that we'll be able to share. That'll be our official, like, this is when the factory says that they'll be done. Realistically, I mean, I don't know how long things take. I'm assuming that it won't be done until mid-December. What is it, the 22nd now? Again, I don't have any experience with skate production. The factory has told us that they are going to expedite our order because they know that they've just been waiting, trying to get this shell modification done. There were a few tweaks that they needed to do the shells in order to start production. So while the samples looked good, they wanted to make sure that the production molds were ready so that they could start production. Things that I don't know, but they say that they should have an ETA for me next week. So I will be sharing that, and I do an update on the website every Friday. If not every Friday, every other Friday if there's news. So definitely standardskate.co/news for all the information. That's the best place to go to get the latest and greatest. And I send an email out to the customers that ordered direct. It's the same information that you get on the website, though. It's just a different way to distribute that information. And thank you for supporting shops. There are definitely perks to ordering direct. It's an easier communication, but we wouldn't be in this world if we didn't have shops. So, I'm never going to tell people to order direct. I think ordering through a shop is just as good, but it is harder for me to get information out to customers that way. But thank you for watching Gear Talk. Finks18, what is your favorite flat setup, wheels and frames together? I mean, right now I'm loving the Compass 80s. Again, full disclosure, that's my company's, but I designed them for the way that I like to skate. I like having big wheels, cruising around the city, being able to skate fast, not having to worry about terrain. If I'm skating aggressive, I really liked that Icon AG60. That was a really great ride. Skating flat 60s, not having to worry about wheel bite. Obviously, there's still wheel bite if you don't have the proper form. But even with my buckled back royales, I was able to do all of my tricks having no issues with wheel bite. So really, really like that frame. The standard Omni frame, the aggressive frames are really good as well. They're not as intricate as the Icon AG60s, but I didn't have any issues with wheel bite with those either. Again, it just depends on what level you're at. If you're not super comfortable with skating flat, or I should say, if you don't have all of your grinds skating flat, I would recommend the AG60. I would recommend the Wish frame. I think that's another great flat frame. Those are probably my two highest recommended flat frames out there. I have not skated the TNEC. I've heard a lot of good things about it though, yeah, I haven't skated that frame yet. So, but I've heard that it's pretty good for flat as well. Great question. Scrolling. Rygar, I've been using an ultrasonic cleaner to clean my bearings because OCD. I don't know what ultrasonic cleaner I would use. If that works, then that's great. I've never played with one though. The old isopropyl alcohol and the shaky is always the easiest for me. But yeah, if you found something that works better, I mean, that's awesome. I'm all for technology to make my life easier. Again, cheap tools, strip bolts and screws. The tools are too soft. A little bit of blue Loctite helps with hardware retention. That's a really good point, actually. Loctite and using good tools will help your skates last longer as well. If your skates start getting loose, Loctite is a good way to do that. They sell it at every hardware store. They probably sell it at department stores or Target or Walmart or whatever. It just keeps your threads on your axles and your hardware from coming loose. And the biggest issue that we run into is parts getting loose when you're skating. And I've had loose parts on every skate that I've skated. It's just a thing because you're skating over, bumpy terrain. Eventually it's going to shake and it's going to loosen up. So yeah, Loctite is a game changer for sure. Ruby, I doubt you remember me from the past couple live streams, but I wanted to thank you. Our progress and aggressive skating is progressing. We're going to buy your liners next. Thank you so much. I do remember you. I don't forget names. I'm pretty good with names and faces. It's hard for me. I don't know if this is the same for you or anybody else. It's hard for me to remember names and faces, like equating a name to a face. Like if I go into a crowded room, I'll remember people because I've recognized them. Or if I'm on a live stream or if I'm on a Slack channel, I'll remember the names of people. But I wouldn't be able to say, oh, that is name, because I can't correlate the names with the faces. But I do remember people. It's great to hear that you're skating more and that you are doing a great job with aggressive. Aggressive has a learning curve. And unfortunately, a lot of that learning comes at the expense of hurting yourself, which was fine when we were all younger and we were in high school. And I'm not sure how old you are, but I'm assuming you're not in high school and that your body hurts when you fall down. And that can be tough. More skating, more stretching, and again, more practice. The more skating that you get to do, the better you get to get at it. So thank you for watching, and yeah, thanks for skating. Hope you're continuing with it and looking forward to a big spring as soon as it warms up a little bit out there. All right, scrolling, and then we're done. We got 3 more questions. Great. C6 Money Pit. I'm OCD. When I rotate wheels, I use a caliper and put largest to smallest. That is definitely the way to go. So measuring the wheels instead of just going front to back, back to front. Measuring the wheels, seeing which ones measure right, because you're never going to wear them all exactly the same. You skate different things, you skate different times, you skate different terrains. I think the easiest way though, first to third, second to fourth, flip them every time, you should be good. Another option for rotating, especially with compass frames or any other UFS frame, just remove the frames. So the compass frame's kind of cool that you can get to the UFS bolts without having to remove the wheels. So all that you'll need to do is unscrew them from the front and the back. Oops, which one's still tight? Back one. And instead of rotating front to back, what you can do is you can take the frame off and then just transfer it from this skate to the other skate. And by keeping the compass logo in the back every time, you'll remember that I'm just swapping them left to right, left to right. What that will do is it will create what they call a natural rocker. So the rear wheel will wear a little bit faster, and then the second wheel, and then this front wheel will wear the least. That will give, well, actually the middle wheel, the second wheel will wear the least. The front wheel will wear just as much as this wheel. That will give you a natural rocker, which is what the Wizard setup was really designed for. Nice angled rocker so that when you're out there skating, it feels really comfortable. You can just swap them from left to right, left to right. All you need to remember is graphics in or graphics out. So long as you keep the logo in the back, just put them on each skate, and you don't have to worry about rotating your wheels, putting them in and out. It's just a nice way to get a consistent profile without any coning. Egon, any thoughts on making a sole plate that has both a backslide groove and torque slide groove on the same side from production? I mean, sky's the limit. If you come up with an idea, you should definitely do it. We probably won't be doing that. I think we're going to maybe do another sole plate, but we're really happy with our aggressive sole plate. But because we're open sourcing the sole plate design, anybody can go out there and make any sole plate that they want, which is going to be a really interesting time for people to see. But yeah, if you have an idea, I mean, find a friend who knows CAD and Fusion 360 or Rhino or something and can make you a sole plate and then go out there and 3D print them. Whoopi, what's the difference between a flat plastic frame for big wheel like the Compass compared to a metal one like Endless? It's a good question. I do have Endless frames. Where are they? Ooh, where did I put them? Oh, they're way over here. Oh, let me get them. Oh, I can reach. All right. I have these Endless frames. So these are either a 4x90 or 3x110 frame. They're made by a company called Endless. Full disclosure, they sent me these frames. I did not pay for these frames. I like these frames. They are a metal frame. They are a 165 mount. The nice thing about a metal frame in my experience is you get a very solid ride. So if you're looking for responsiveness, if you're trying to skate fast, if you want control over your edges, a metal frame, there's really no compromise. It is a solid metal. It's not going anywhere. It's not flexing or anything. The Compass frames are plastic. And the reason that they are plastic, two reasons. One is keeping cost low. So these are a $65 frame versus I think those are $200, maybe $180. So a much cheaper frame. In addition, it's a lot less shocky. So if you're doing jumps, if you're doing stair rides or anything like that, a metal frame, you'll feel it more in your heels and your knees because the metal isn't going to flex. Plastic, even though you think this is pretty hard, will flex a little bit. So when you're skating downstairs or when you're doing gaps, you won't feel it as much in your knees. These frames are designed for aggressive skaters who want to skate big wheels. Endless frames, in my eyes, and I don't work for the company, but in my eyes, are designed for people who want a really quality, no compromise big wheel frame. Not designed for aggressive skaters specifically, though a lot of aggressive skaters skate them. They're designed for people who just want a really high quality frame. So if you fall into that bucket, it's a great frame for you. I don't know of any plastic 165 mount frames. I'm sure there are some out there, but most of them are metal. I love plastic. I think that plastic is a really nice compromise. You can get a lot more bang for your buck. But again, you're going to not have, you won't have the same amount of responsiveness as you will with a metal frame. But is it enough? I mean, that's the question. That's kind of the big difference. You do see some metal frames in an 80 millimeter size, 90 millimeter size. They don't all have to be really big ones. I mean, they even make metal frames in a flat by 60. So there's definitely an aggressive market for metal frames. For me, I don't like metal frames as much because my knees hurt after doing gaps and stuff with metal. I like a more comfortable ride, so plastic is the way that I go. Great question. I don't know that I've ever answered that question. It's a really good idea. Eric Lopez, when are the Prime cores going to be available? You can get cores now. If you go to the website, there's a developer bundle that has each of the cores with axles and frame spacers. I think they are $70 for a set. It doesn't include walls, but includes everything else that you need. So if you want to start developing, or if you have an old pair of walls that you got from a friend or something, and you just need a set of cores, then that's the way to do it. So go to our website, balancedist.com, and look for the developer bundle. Ruby, again, I might be trying to think too far ahead, but I was wondering how to jump higher. I see some skate rails like waist level. I don't get how to jump that high. I'm 30, so is my husband. Jumping is all, it's a lot. That will be a completely separate video. Most important thing, I think, with jumping, especially on skates. I mean, you can do a lot of practice with jumping without skates. Most important thing to think about when jumping high with inline skates is that it's less about jumping and it's more about pushing your body off the ground and then picking up your feet. So if you look at the head, if you track the head of people skating, when they jump on a handrail, they're not actually jumping. So if the handrail is, a waist-high handrail, they're not physically levitating, all the way up. They're jumping about a quarter of that height and picking up their feet and scrunching themselves down. That's how you're able to get up higher on obstacles, or you're able to jump over obstacles or anything like that. So really, two things that you should work on. One, obviously, work on jumping. You can do that just in your shoes. Go to a park or something like that. Find a ledge that you can jump on with grass or something that might have a planter bed or something, and then just practice jumping up there with shoes. Try doing it with skates. There's a lot of ways that you can practice jumping. The second thing, work on getting lower when you're doing your grinds. So when you're doing a sole grind, try to get as low as you can, really bend yourself down, get used to getting really squat, because you're going to want to do that squat when you jump in the air. Those are the two things. If you're looking for more intricate videos and tutorials, I would highly recommend Eugen Ennen's Instagram channel. So he does an Instagram about mobility and flexibility, I think. Eugen is an amazing skater, one of the best skaters that we have. He's a USD pro, skates for Kaiser, skates for Undercover, bunch of great companies. You can find him on the Instagram, EUGENN, and amazing skater, but he also has tutorials and stuff that he goes through how to strength train, how to get stronger with jumping, and how to jump higher. And I mean, take it from him. I'm a 47-year-old guy that, is trying to stay healthy and stay without getting injured. He's in his prime, and he's in amazing shape, and he's able to do all the tricks on all the rails and all the obstacles. So definitely worth looking into it. Great question. Steve Johns, 45-degree straps one day. Nah, maybe. I mean, maybe if we do a big wheel skate. Honestly, skating the compass frames this weekend, I didn't feel like I needed a 45-degree strap, because the way that this skate, the lacing area, like this, squeezes a little bit. When you tighten up your laces, it does give you that feeling of wearing a 45-degree strap without having a 45-degree strap. I do think there is a potential to add a 45-degree ratchet buckle. I love ratchet buckles, but I'm glad that we didn't with the mold itself, because that means that if you don't want a 45-degree strap, you don't have a hole in the side of your skate. It's just a nice clean silhouette without the hole. But great question. If we do a big wheel version, we'll probably look into it. Donatello, any thoughts, ideas to share topic of big wheel core frame? I do like the idea. I don't know if you mentioned it before or somebody else. I haven't really considered it much. I don't know what it would do that a compass frame wouldn't do. And I don't know that compass, we are working on some new compass frames. I don't know that compass needs to be that big into the frame market. Like, I don't know what intricate changes a core would allow. Maybe a plastic slider, but then I would probably just make an aluminum frame and then put plastic sliders on them. But there's a few of those out there already, so I'd want to do something new to that. It's an interesting idea, though. I haven't really thought it through, though, so It won't be next year, but I never count out a bad idea or a good idea. Andre Chappelle, does Endless have a UFS? Yes. Endless makes a 90 millimeter UFS, I think. Go to endlessblading.com and you can get their whole suite of frames. They make a lot of frames, a lot of really cool colors, and again, I'll vouch for the quality of the frames. Their production is top notch. Steve, I can confirm that Target has Loctite. I'm there now. Thank you, Steve, for checking on it. Man on the street. And then finally, lesser one, would there be much difference in the cruising speed of flat 68 versus high-low setup of 72, 65, or whatever it is? Would it be a noticeable difference? Question for the ages. I am not a physicist, so I don't know what the difference would be. In my experience, though, I feel like I skated faster with 4x65 than I did with 72x60 Wish frames. And I don't have any reason to back that up. I don't know that that's true. I should probably do a test with 4x65 and then 72x60. I don't know, like, from the Einstein relativity perspective, that's not my jam. I don't know if technically it makes a difference, but I would love to know. It's been a question that I've had for a long time, whether a mix of sizes is going to take the attributes of the big size or take the attributes of the small size. I honestly don't know. But it's a great question, and something that I think somebody needs to do a video on. All right, I think we're good. I went longer than I had planned, but that's not a problem. I wanted to squeeze this in before Thanksgiving, and I am glad that I was able to, because I have a lot of my friends here tonight. It's really great to see everybody, and I had a really nice time sharing some experiences tonight. Love that people are more excited about skating. I've seen a huge influx of back to bladers over the last month or so, and it seems like it's continuing to come. So I don't know if this is a lead up to Christmas. I don't know how things are going to change when it starts getting cold and wet outside, but I do hope that if you're watching this, that you stick with us until spring. It is so much more fun to skate in spring and summer than it is in winter and fall. It's a beautiful sport, beautiful pastime. It's something that you can do on your own, at your own pace, wherever you want, whenever you want. You can't really find that anywhere else. So glad that you found us, glad that you are back if you're back, glad that you've stuck around if you've stuck around. Hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving if you're in the U.S. Again, my favorite holiday. It's a great time to spend with family and loved ones. If you're looking for friends, I'm sure that you can find somebody to share a plate with, or share a table with, that we can get a plate of food. It's just that sort of holiday. So definitely, if you're lonely and looking for friends, don't hesitate to reach out to somebody that you know. I am sure that they will make room at the table for you. It's a very communal holiday. It's my favorite holiday. It's been a busy time here at the warehouse, hoping to get caught up on everything. If you're looking for updates on standardskate.co/news is the place to go. We will be posting there as soon as we have more information. Every Friday we try to make an update. Thanks for all the patience and support. It's our first skate project, so things definitely haven't gone as smoothly as we had hoped. That's production for you. Sometimes we get lucky and things go quickly. This is not one of those times, but we're doing everything we can to get skates as quickly as possible. Believe me, I need these skates here yesterday. And the factory knows that, so they're doing everything they can to get them moving quickly. It's just production takes time. So we will keep you posted on things, but until then, hope you have a great evening, great Thanksgiving. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week. Or not next week, next time, next show. 2 weeks. See you in 2 weeks.